Tennessee, without a doubt, was one of the biggest winners of National Signing Day on Wednesday. Why? I'll tell you right now.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Thursday morning, everybody, and welcome into Locked On Vols. I am your host, Cain, a member of the VolQuest.com team here in town covering your Tennessee Volunteers. And today's show, it is going to be a fun one because we're talking Croton, and it's presented by our great friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Go ahead and download that app today. Tennessee did work on National Signing Day. One of the biggest winners in all the country, moved up several spots in the Rivals industry rankings and one of the top schools in the Southeastern Conference. Tennessee did work. Tennessee finished the 2026 cycle on a huge high notes. We're going to go over the wins, a potential loss, and much, much more here on today's show. Plus, what did Josh Heupel have to say about his recruiting class? What did he have to say about Faison Brandon, Legend Bay, Tyreek King, players he signed from Canadian descent, all that and more coming up in segment 2. Plus, what about last year's signing class? How do they perform this year? Who's redshirting? What's the stat roundup look like? All that and more coming up here on today's Locked On Vols. All right, National Signing Day. I'm going to be completely honest with you. At the time of this recording on a Wednesday evening, I got stuff going on tonight. There is one more at the time of this recording that Tennessee's holding out on, and again, at the time of this recording, I feel like Tennessee's going to get some good news in that regard, but I'm going to completely omit that one from the conversation. We can come back and talk about what we missed on the Friday show potentially, but overall, Tennessee has done a fantastic job. At the time of this recording, Tennessee is a top 5 class in all college football. Now, if Salesi Moa flips and signs with Utah, that could change potentially, but Tennessee today was as low as 11. Tennessee was as low as 11th nationally today. It's jumped up 6 spots to number 5. Tennessee currently number 2 in the Southeastern Conference. At the time of this recording, again, there are other schools who have yet to sign some players. There will be some late flips, okay? It's not done. That's why it's a window. Now, 90% of the window is going to be covered on a Wednesday, but there will be some movement later on, so these are always subject to change. But right now, at the time of this recording, okay, Tennessee's 5th in the country, 2nd in the SEC, trailing only Georgia. Top 5 in the country at the time of this recording: Southern Cal, Notre Dame, Oregon, Georgia, Tennessee. Tennessee is followed closely by Alabama, Ohio State, Miami, Texas A&M, and LSU. That is your top 10. You've got Texas at 11, Michigan at 12, Florida at 13, so on and so forth. We won't get into the weeds there, but Tennessee's done some work. What has been so great about Tennessee on National Signing Day? Well, first and foremost, to this point, it's gotten all of its commits in the boat. There's one that we'll get to here in a moment, but it won big on getting the flip from Ohio State back into the Tennessee class. I say back into the Tennessee class because 4-star athlete Legend Bay committed to Tennessee over the summer. He flipped to Ohio State this fall, and now on signing day, he's back in Big Orange. Well, I wouldn't say he's back in Big Orange. Just crazy signing day, right? There's pictures out there with Legend Bay wearing his Ohio State stuff to a signing day, but when it all came down, signing day celebration on Wednesday morning, but when it came down to it, relationships won. Relationships with Kelsey Pope, relationships with Josh Heupel, relationships with not just Legend Bay, with his entire family. Relationships won. It also doesn't hurt that offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach Brian Hartline took the head coaching job at USF today. But more than anything, relationships worked. Old school recruitment in that regard. Kelsey Pope deserves a big old pat on the back. I mean, he has done a phenomenal job. Well, what a difference a year makes. Tennessee fans were fed up with Kelsey Pope, wanted him out of here. 5-star Mike Matthews, top 100 player Travis Smith, underrated 4-star Radarius Jackson, had a really good class last year. 5-star Tristan Keys, top 130 player Tyreek King, 4-star athlete Legend Bay that you got to flip back on signing day, and we'll see what Salesi Moa eventually does, but he's a top 100 athlete as well. And all three of your starting wide receivers had over 700 yards of receiving, one 1,000-yard receiver. Kelsey Bump's done a heck of a job. And that was a big reason why Legend Bay flipped back to Tennessee on National Signing Day. So that was one big major win for the University of Tennessee. And we'll remind you that Legend Bay is, if I can find him here, Legend Bay, according to the Rivals Industry Rankings, 191 overall, number 6 athlete, 27th player from the state of Texas, where he plays quarterback, running back, wide receiver, pretty much anything and everything. Tennessee also got the commit of Carter Gooden. He was a flip from Carter Gooden, former UCLA commit, flipped to Tennessee. That would have been trending for quite some time. He stayed committed to the Bruins throughout firing its coach and throughout not having a coach throughout the entire season, essentially, for much of 3/4 of the season. And he was the Bruins' highest-rated commit by a long shot. He flipped to Tennessee, made it official, and he joins the class 142 nationally, 16th ranked defensive lineman, number 1 in the state of Maine, and that is Carter Gooden, 6'4", 260. A lot of versatility there. And again, he is a guy that kind of moved that needle up for the University of Tennessee. Jordan Carter, former Texas A&M commit, decommitted, took a visit to Tennessee that same day. I believe it was the Oklahoma game. Auburn came in late, in this one. They were in there, but it was really DJ Durkin that was in there. Alex Golich gets the job. They continue to make a push there. Georgia Tech was pushing big time, but it is Jordan Carter that commits to the University of Tennessee, and he is nationally ranked 212. He's the 23rd ranked defensive lineman in his position, 22nd in the state of Georgia. 6'3", 245 is his weight. Again, versatility is an attribute, a strong suit for him, and Tennessee was able to get him in the boat as well. So Tennessee flipped Legend Bay. Tennessee flipped Carter Gooden. Tennessee got the commit of Jordan Carter. Okay, there's one that I'm not going to mention here because you never know in recruiting, i.e. Legend Bay. You never know in recruiting. Not going to mention him, but certainly Tennessee was expecting some potential news later on Wednesday evening in that regard. Tennessee also picked up the commit of a punter from Pro Kick Australia to eventually take the place of Jackson Ross. His name is Logan Foley. He took an official visit over the Vanderbilt weekend and continuing that pipeline there. He's not a rugby-style punter. He's more of a traditional-style punter, punts with his right foot, and he is 23 years of age as well. So an older guy coming from Pro Kick Australia to be the replacement for Jackson Ross, who has another year of eligibility remaining. So let's get to the downside. Salesi Moa. Right now, at the time of this recording, again, every Tennessee commit that the Vols had entering the day has signed, but Salesi Moa. Tennessee's added a couple, but they have not got Salesi Moa. Salesi Moa, again, was visiting Michigan, okay? His brother plays for Michigan State. Was kind of in the area watching that, and Tennessee survived the weekend when he was taking a visit to Michigan. But Utah's coming to swinging hard. Again, he is from Provo, all right? He's from Ogden, Utah. And BYU was a factor. Utah was always a factor there. And Tennessee won his recruitment, right? But those teams are never going to stop swinging. And Utah, which is not going to be a top 10 national team recruiting, not going to have as much players that need resources like a la NIL and all that, like Tennessee or rev share. Like, they can put a greater percentage of the rev share towards a guy like Salesi Moa. They can create a bigger NIL package for a guy like Salesi Moa. So we'll see what he's going to do. He's pushing off his signing until at least Thursday, maybe Friday. He still very much could end up in Tennessee's class. Maybe he wants to play in the Southeastern Conference. I don't know. We'll see. But, certainly if Salesi Moa were to flip to Utah and end up signing in that class, the blow is softened a bit because you got Legend Bay to join this class, certainly, at the wide receiver position. But, I mean, Salesi Moa, he's number 54 nationally, right? Number 2 athlete, number 1 from the state of Utah. Like, he is a very good player. There's potential there for him to play safety on the defensive side of the football if he wanted to do that later on, if he didn't like wide receiver. But we will be tracking and looking at Salesi Moa as the week continues. But again, if he flips, you certainly still want him in the class. Don't get me wrong. If he were to flip, the blow is softened because you got Legend Bay back in the class for sure. So I think Tennessee did a heck of a job. I mean, this class is really well-rounded. Again, 5-star quarterback in Faison Brandon, 5-star wide receiver in Tristan, 4-star athlete, Legend Bay, 4-star wide receiver in Tyreek King from Knoxville Catholic High School. Joel Wyatt, there was some chatter there late about Wyatt. Maybe LSU was pushing hard. He signs for the University of Tennessee. He was one of the first people to send in their signature early on Wednesday morning, so that was good to celebrate. TJ White, Braden Rouse, 2 linebackers who are both top 100 prospects. They're in this class. Gabriel Ascenda, which has such a high potential, a mountain of an offensive tackles in this class. Again, we've already gone over some of the targets and the flips that Tennessee was able to get in. This is just a really good class. Darion Albert, I think, has great potential on the defensive line. Darrell Rivers, I think, has great potential on the defensive line. C.J. Edwards, the staff loves his ability at Leo. He's not a highly ranked guy whatsoever, but the staff loves his ability at the Leo position. I mean, we can go on and on and on. There's a lot of players in this class. Again, at the time of this recording, officially 27 signatures, 28 commits. We'll see exactly what Salesi Moa wants to do, and maybe that late one on a Wednesday evening with the Big Orange's way. And I think that was had a pretty decent chance of happening at the time of this recording. So we'll circle back and check on that here on a Friday morning. End of the day, sound like Josh Heupel. End of the day, Tennessee did a heck of a job. This is a good day. This is probably the best signing day Josh Heupel's had while at the University of Tennessee. A lot of big wins, and currently at the time of this recording, things can change. I expect things to change. There's a little bit of movement. But at the time of this recording, Tennessee's number 5 in the country, number 2 behind Georgia in the Southeastern Conference. That's some good work. That's some real good work for sure. So we will continue on. What does Josh Heupel think about this class? What does he have to say about specific players like Legend Bay, Faison Brandon, Tyreek King? That's coming up next as we continue on here. It is your Thursday morning Locked On Ball. Stay tuned. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on, and if you want something meaningful, something personal and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aurora Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories. Because Aurora isn't just average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. We have one. And when I say, I kid you not, it's sitting on our kitchen table, and when I walk in there into the kitchen, when I'm doing whatever, I'm holding the baby or washing bottles or getting something to eat or just whatever. I mean, I pass by that frame every day, and I sit there and I stop and I just look at pictures. I'm also a sappy adult dad now, and I just look at pictures of my little boy, and it just makes my heart melt. I kid you not. These frames are freaking awesome. I can personally vouch. We have 2. My mom has one. I have one. My mom loads pictures. I load a picture of the boy and put it on my mom's frame. It's awesome, and it's a really great Christmas gift that you guys can give for anybody, right? Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, endless upload pictures, 30-second videos as well through the Aurora app. We have live photos on there, so that's kind of fun. Packaging comes gift ready, no price tag, no wrapping needed. It is a huge win. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting AuroraFrames.com at $35 off at Aurora's best-selling Carve It Matte Frames, named number 1 by Wirecutter, by using the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's Aurora, A-U-R-A, Aurora. Sounds funny, right? I'm also probably saying it silly, but AURA frames.com/college, or promo code college. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get in time before the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions, they do apply. Tennessee did a really good job with the class of 2026, finishing strong. It turned out to be a bigger class than maybe I anticipated. But that's what happens when you got a couple of guys on the line, a couple of guys who are uncommitted and or flip targets, and Tennessee was able to get to the finish line on several of those and really did a good job. Jumped up nationally a couple spots, top couple in the SEC. So a really, really solid job for Josh Heupel. What might go down as one of his best classes so far here at the University of Tennessee when it's all said and done. All right, what did Josh Heupel have to think about his class? He met with the media Wednesday afternoon for National Signing Day. The first clip I'm going to play is kind of his thoughts overall, offensively, defensively, and how his staff did in constructing this signing class of 2026.
I think our staff did a great job here in state. From the moment I got here, I said it was important for us to go recruit it the right way. It doesn't mean that we take every player, but that we recruit it the right way. Able to sign the top defensive player in the state, and Joel Wyatt, top offensive lineman, and Gabe Osinda. Thought our staff did a great job here inside of the state of Tennessee and the bordering states as well. Went into North Carolina and got the top player there. Just really proud of what we did. The ability to add great length, athleticism on the defensive side of the ball. I think 13 guys that are public at this point. Hopefully we'll have some good news here as the afternoon continues to go on. But adding elite traits, dynamic playmakers on that side of the football. Couldn't be more excited about what we've done there. The afternoon has a chance to trickle in and bring in some more guys. Hopefully you guys stay tuned. But really excited about what we did in this class. So I'll open it up to some questions from y'all.
And Josh Heupel teasing it not once but twice there in the final 20 seconds about how they're expecting a couple more later in the afternoon. And again, those, of course, we talked about in segment number 1. So Josh Heupel kind of breaking down offensively, defensively, what this class looks like. Again, a really, really strong class. With every class, everybody wants to know about the quarterback, and this is old news. Faison Brandon's been in this class for quite some time. He was the first commit to this class all the way back in August of 2024. August of 2024, forever ago, Faison Brandon led the way, 5-star quarterback prospect, one of the top 10 players in the entire country, according to the On3 industry rankings, or the Rivals industry rankings now. And here's what Josh Heupel had to say about the quarterback of the class. Maybe QB1 next year. We'll have to find out. That is Faison Brandon.
First of all, Faison's a great player. We had an opportunity to watch him on the basketball court. Extremely explosive, great touch, had great presence, and bodies in motion. You see that on the football tape, obviously, as well. He's played at an elite level for a long time. His body continued to develop. He's got a great mind. He's extremely quick-minded. You combine all those factors. Really excited about having him in the quarterback room and competing next fall. Anytime you're able to get a quarterback that's at that level and is made of the right things, he's able to develop relationships with guys and help attract them. And he certainly did that in this recruiting class, really on both sides of the football.
Yeah, Faison, instrumental in getting Tristan Keys to flip here from LSU to Tennessee early on in the cycle. When Legend Bay flipped from Ohio State to Tennessee, as we spoke on in segment number 1, Faison Brandon, one of the couple guys that texted him and congratulated him, and I was like, hey, man, let's get to work. Let's do it. And, of course, Faison Brandon, any quarterback of the class is always going to kind of be that straw that stirs the drink. Faison Brandon, incredible leadership aspects and traits and all that. Excited to see what he looks like in a Tennessee uniform in the years to come. Let's talk about Legend Bay. Again, what does Josh Heupel have to say about Legend Bay? It didn't really get into kind of how they might utilize him, but the traits that he brings to the table. One of Tennessee's biggest wins on National Signing Day. Former commit that flipped away from Tennessee to Ohio State that they got to flip back into the class. Snip, snap, snip, snap, right? Back into the class on National Signing Day. That is 4-star athlete, wide receiver, Legend Bay.
Yeah, Legend. On the video, he is dynamic, special playmaker, ball in his hands. Got a chance to watch him live and in person too, and he is such a unique tool. His skill set, having played quarterback, the command, the presence that he has back there, throws the ball really extremely well in person. as a playmaker, man, the ability to be involved out in space, perimeter screen, the ability to go up and high point balls. He's extremely loose. He's a guy that can be used in the return game as well. So just a dynamic tool that we have an opportunity to add to the offensive arsenal.
Yeah, usually when you're called a tool, that might not be a good thing, right? But an offensive tool in a system that's unique and versatile and everything that Legend Bay can bring to the table. Yeah, I sign me up for that. I'm super excited. A 10-2 guy in track in the 100-meter dash. I mean, the dude can fly. And yes, he's not going to play quarterback here at the University of Tennessee. He's going to be more of a wide receiver. But could they toil with him in the backfield, the ball in his hands, find ways to get him the football? Again, probably a project-type player, right? But not a gadget player, but a guy that you can utilize in a number of different ways and utilize those speeds and those attributes. So, again, sign me up for that. One of the top 150 players in the country, and that is Legend Bay. What about a guy that Tennessee got in its own backyard? We're talking a lot of offense here. I recognize that. But a guy Tennessee got in its own backyard, Tyreek King from Catholic High School, maybe the best slot wide receiver in the class, in the entire cycle, I should say. High upside. Covered a couple of his games. Super talented. Early commit to Tennessee. Wanted to be a part of things and wanted to build this class. And certainly he's a guy that I think is going to have a good career here at the University of Tennessee. And Josh Heupel pretty much said the same thing yesterday.
Tyreek's another one at the wide receiver position that's, explosive, dynamic. His short area acceleration is really rare and unique. Tyreek, it's been a long recruitment. I was talking with him last night, and man, 2 years ago he came by the hotel on a Friday night where he was off, and it feels like it was just yesterday, and it feels like it was a decade ago, all at the same time. But Tyreek, great player, great family, being local, understood what it's like inside of that stadium. But I think also it's different for the local kid in that, man, all of his classmates at his high school, all of his extended family, everybody that he's grown up with, super fans of Tennessee. And I think that's important that you have those guys inside of your locker room because they feel it, they live it, 365 days out of the year. And I can't wait to get Tyreek here, in the late spring and start going to work with him. I think he's got a great future in front of him.
No doubt, and I love that bit he threw in there about local guys or in-state guys. But let me try that again. Specifically, there you go. Sometimes life is hard. Classmates, teachers, family members. I mean, you can't escape it. That's why the pipeline I'm about to talk about here in a moment from Baylor to Tennessee is so strong. I reference that all the time, but from Catholic and different areas here in East Tennessee, everywhere you turn, it's Big Orange, right? And so you grew up in that aspect. You're around that aspect for so long, and it's a part of your culture. And certainly Tyreek King is no exception to that, standing out here at nearby Knoxville Catholic High School. All right, that's what Josh Heupel had to say about his class yesterday. Again, still waiting at this time to see what Salesi Moa is going to do. Is he going to go to stay home at Utah? Is he going to stay committed in this class? We'll see. Probably not going to sign until later in the week, maybe tomorrow, or maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But overall, fantastic work for Tennessee in the class of 2026. And that was Josh Heupel kind of recapping a lot of that right there. Let's go back and visit the class of 2025 freshman tracker, redshirt tracker, and stat roundup. How did the class of 2025 perform on the field for Tennessee here in the 2025 season? All that and more is coming up next as we continue on here. It's Thursday, Locked On Vols. Stay tuned. NFL Sundays, they move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're watching it in real time. You're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets on and watch the action unfold, every drive, every momentum, every swing, every highlight it's a moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, defense tightens up, the momentum flips, maybe following a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into that moment. Live spreads on the money lines instantly adjust to those moments. Player props can adjust, and again, when someone starts to heat up or they're feeling themselves a little bit, you can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every single snap, every drive, all the different possibilities. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, it's where you can make every moment more. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. So I thought it was fitting here in this episode of Locked On Vols. We're talking about signing day, the big wins from yesterday for Josh Heupel and this 2026 class to look at the freshmen that were on this year's team and kind of what they accomplished here in the regular season. But most importantly, a lot of you guys have questions about redshirt. Who qualifies for a redshirt? Who's going to redshirt? Who doesn't qualify for a redshirt? And a lot of this kind of seems silly right now, but a couple of years from now, like if you got a guy like Joey Aguilar, it's like, oh man, like I'd love he had another year left. Like, what's that look like? Like they can pay dividends down the road. Thank goodness we're finally past the COVID years. The COVID years were so confusing, made no sense. Some got eligibility, some didn't. But here's where the 2025 class, the true freshman class from this year, kind of stacks up in terms of who can redshirt, who cannot. The 2025 class for the University of Tennessee, it finished 11th nationally, and it finished 8th in the Southeastern Conference. Clearly, the 2026 class has already done much better than that. Tennessee signed a total of 25 players. Tennessee signed more than that already, and it included a pair of 5 stars in David Sanders and Isaiah Campbell. Tennessee's got a pair of 5 stars in Faison Brandon and Tristan Keys for this class. Last year's class had 2 5-star, 14 4-stars, 9 3-stars. 6 of those freshmen played in 4 games or less. Thus, 6 members of the class qualify for a red shirt. Those who don't qualify for a red shirt include the other 19. 19 guys played in 4 games or more, and thus can't redshirt. They'll be known as true sophomores next year. The players that qualify for a red shirt, the 6 that qualify for a red shirt, Leo Christian Gass, and if he was healthy all year long, he would not have qualified for a red shirt, but Leo Christian Gass, quarterback George McIntyre, that's obvious, offensive lineman Jefferson County native, what up Patriots, Nick Moore, defensive lineman Jaden Lofton, defensive tackle Charles House, and wide receiver Joakim Dotson. Gass makes sense, he was hurt. McIntyre makes sense, he was the third quarterback. Joakim Dotson makes a whole lot of sense too, even though the wide receivers are thin numbers wise. He was still like an addition in June. He didn't get here until after spring ball. You look at some of the stats. Christian Gass, 3 tackles, half a TFL on the season in 2 games. McIntyre in 2 games, 7-9 passing, 69 yards. Nick Moore in 3 games, no stats on the offensive line. Jaden Lofton played in 1 game. He had no stats on the defensive line. Charles House played in 2 games where he had 3 tackles, a tackle and a half for loss, and a sack. And Joakim Dotson played in 4 games where he had 2 receptions for 38 yards. Now, here are the players that do not qualify for a red shirt, and I'll do stats here in a moment. David Sanders obviously does not qualify for a red shirt. He played in 8 games. He missed the first month of the season. He was going to start every game this year, but he ended up with 5 starts. Defensive tackle Isaiah Campbell, he played in 7 games. Tight end Faison Brandon, he played in 7 games. Defensive end Marion Dye played in 6 games. Wide receiver Travis Smith, though he missed some time, he still played in 6 games. Linebacker Jaden Harmon played in all 12 games. A lot of these guys special teamers. Defensive tackle Ethan Utley played in 11 games. Wide receiver Rodarius Jackson played in 8 games. Tight end Jack Van Dorselaer played in all 12 games, as did defensive back Trey Poteet, 12 games. Linebacker Jaden Perlotti, 12 games. Running back DeJuan Morse, 6 games. Linebacker Brendan Ains, 12 games. He primarily a special teams guy. Offensive lineman Anthony Ogmoro played in 10 games, primarily field goal team. Defensive back Tim Merritt, 12 games. Running back Justin Baker, 12 games. Safety Sidney Walton, 9 games. Defensive back Dylan Lewis, 5 games. And cornerback Ty Redmond, of course, ended up being a starter all year long, essentially 12 games. So those players, 19 players, do not qualify for a red shirt. And a lot of production here. It just goes to show you Tennessee played a ton of players this year, not only on special teams, but some key contributors at points in times, specifically on defense more so than offense, but still some played on offense, like David Sanders, 8 games, 5 starts. Isaiah Campbell, 7 games, 2 tackles for a loss. 2 tackles, half a sack, and 1 QB hurry. Faison Brandon, 6 receptions for 63 yards. Marion Dye, 7 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 1 QB hurry. Travis Smith, 3 receptions, 29 yards. Jaden Harmon, 15 tackles, half a sack, 1 PBU, and 1 QB hurry. Ethan Utley, 4 tackles, 1 TFL. Redarius Jackson, 7 receptions, 72 yards. Jack Van Dorselaer, 5 receptions, 23 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, he played in a ton of 12 personnel this year. Trey Poteet, 11 tackles, 1 PBU. Jaden Perlotti, 13 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 QB hurry, 2 fumble recoveries, and he was kind of a spark plug at linebacker there towards the end of the year. DeJuan Morris, 35 rushing attempts, 133 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 230 all-purpose yards. Brendan Ains, 5 tackles on special teams. Ogmaro, no stats. It was on field goal team or a little bit on offense, but he played offensive line. Tim Merritt, 4 tackles. Justin Baker, 14 attempts, 43 yards rushing. I believe he had 2 tackles on kickoff team as well. He did a good job on coverage team. Sidney Walton, 7 tackles. He played 9 games, missed the last couple games due to injury. Still only surprised it was 7 tackles because he played a lot. 1 tackle for Dylan Lewis and Ty Redmond. Pretty good stat line here, right? And it's crazy because the true freshman got better as the year went along, right? It's funny how that works. 39 tackles, 1 TFL, 3 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, and 10 PBUs, both team highs. And remember, they targeted him. Opposing offenses and opposing quarterbacks did much more than they targeted Colton Hood. So that's a look at the freshman roundup, the redshirt tracker, the stat roundup for Tennessee's 25 freshmen that were on the 2025 season and roster, I should say. And I thought that it was pretty fitting that we talk about that here on a day when we're talking about signing day yesterday, where Tennessee did really, really good work. So good show today. Appreciate you guys for being here, making Locked On Ball. It's part of your morning routine, your first listen, your first watch each and every single day. We'll come back. We'll continue to look at big picture stuff where Tennessee could attack the transfer portal when it officially opens in the month of January. But what are some positions of need? A whole lot more to conclude your work week. We'll be back at it, ready to roll Friday morning right here on Locked On Balls. Thanks so much.